Sherry, the first topic I want to talk about is a quote that came from Greg Danes. And it says, companies that focus on retention tend to have poor retention, while companies that focus on expansion get retention for free. Greg Danes is the CEO of Churn RX, and he posted that on LinkedIn. Just first blush, what's your reaction to that statement?
Greg posts some great stuff, and it can often be controversial. I'll give you. I remember it's funny. I hadn't seen him on LinkedIn in quite some time, but he wrote something a few years back as well that always stuck with me. In order for people to adopt your product, um, people have to change the way they work, right? And that has
Basic change management. Yeah.
but it comes down to that, and all of a CS customer success is really change enablement in a lot
Mm-hmm.
of ways. But him saying that, I will never forget that. That was many years ago, but it stuck with me. So I was happy to see him pop up again. But this was a good one. There's a lot of schools of thought, like, not a lot. Let me expansion is about driving value proactively, right? That's what we were just talking about. So if you're focusing on driving that value proactively in general, the renewal would hopefully become a non-event. It's a given because you're already driving value. And again, now we're not even so much talking about the renewal, we're talking about additional products. If you get to that point, then again, the renewal becomes a non-event because now we've got there's, different things in motion. I would say that is, that's part of it. It's like expansion, and if you want to think about it too, expansion is kind of a retention strategy because customers are growing and expanding because their use case and because of their use case and because of success they've had, right? So you can talk about it from that perspective. However, there are, if we want to look at I guess, the market right now, because right now with the macroeconomic climate being the way it is, you might want to, in some cases right now, you might have to simply just focus on retention, right? Like financial concessions, temporary relief might actually have to be part of your retention strategy. Like for example, during peak COVID, a lot of people were giving some kind of discount matrix, or allowing people to pause on payment. So I think you can say it depends, especially given the current situation. But I think aside from that, expansion is a retention strategy. So what he's saying does make sense.
Yeah, I might take it a step further and say that I think he is right, except there's a ton of outlier cases where there may not be an opportunity for expansion, and that doesn't mean you don't talk to them at all because talking to them about retention makes the likelihood less. I don't think that theory holds water necessarily, and I think that goes back to the second point you made, particularly in a tough market. If there's no expansion possible, it's not as though you don't pick up the phone when they call, so to speak, right? I think it's all about that context, right? Like if there's an expansion opportunity, then you're obviously already trying to drive value, and that in and of itself is going to drive your retention likelihood up. But it all depends on the customer. It depends on what your product looks like. There's a ton of products out there, very early stage. They don't have additional stuff to sell. So the only thing you can do is drive retention. And that's the only mandate that customer success might have in that scenario.
Yes, I as always, it depends. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
However, I think, like you said, you're not necessarily included. That might be like seed Series A who only have the one product right now.
Mm-hmm.
However, what could be possible from that is in that early stages as you're gathering customers and money might be tight and resources, but if you have a good product and you're supporting them and you're listening to your customers, they might be like, and you're hearing similar things from your customers about what they need and what they might want from you based on what the use case is that they have with you today, like why they invested, they could help you're hearing enough of the same things. It's enough of a business case where maybe that helps to influence the roadmap and they expand with you. And they were part of the decision to help that expand. So that could be a very big part of a partnership. Like, what do you see? I mean, it's all going to depend on the company, but I wouldn't discount that aspect of it either.
Sure. Though that's a healthy chicken or egg argument of is that, retention, is that expansion, is that a next level customer relationship? It starts to the lines start to be blurred there, I would say. But I agree. You should be nurturing every relationship you have in one form or fashion, even if it's not high touch.